Respite for cash-strapped motorists, government's absorbing the latest fuel price increase. So instead of a 25-cent hike, you'll be paying 5 cents more for litre from tomorrow or just after midnight tonight. Let's bring you a response to government's intervention. The Automobile Association's Leighton Beards in our Pretoria studio for us this morning. Leighton, good morning and thanks for your time. You've been lobbying for government to absorb some of these costs, to do something so that this doesn't hit consumers' pockets hard. Just your response to this latest move.
Look, I think for consumers, this is absolutely wonderful news. I think, any respite to the high prices is obviously something that we would welcome, not only for motorists, but certainly for consumers as well. It really is very good news. I think our concern would be as to how this is actually going to be implemented over the longer term and how this increase that is not going to happen is going to be absorbed in the future. Certainly, if the price were to increase from September going into October, that would mean that any deferred payments now would have to be calculated into that price. So I think the mechanism of how this is going to pan out need to be understood a little bit better. We don't have all of that information just yet, but it appears that it's going to be phased in, or this increase that we are saving is going to be phased in over a period of time. But certainly any respite, even if it is for a month, is something that we would welcome as the AA.
Well, I suppose the other question, Leighton, is why couldn't this have been done earlier?
Yeah, I think it is a good question. I think at the moment you're looking at record high prices. When we look at, for instance, 93 unleaded octane inland, it was going to reach over a psychological barrier of 16 Rand a litre. And I think obviously government felt that the timing now was right. We expected an announcement by government on Friday of the official fuel price increase for September. That didn't happen. And I think that that was an indication that over the weekend and perhaps even on Friday or before Friday, economists within government and government itself were kind of applying their minds to how to deal with this increase going forward. And this is the solution they came up with. It needs to be pointed out, Yveka, this, as government has said itself, is a once-off intervention. It's not going to happen again. So we are saving 20 cents on the increase going into September. But I think very importantly, let's not get lulled into a sense of thinking that this is going to happen every month going forward. If there is an increase, like I said, from September going into October, how are we going to absorb that? Are they going to add 5 cents to the price of fuel going into October? Is it going to be 10 cents? Are we going to see bigger increases down the line? So I think some of the mechanisms of how this is going to work out need to be understood a bit better more. But at this stage, any respite for consumers, I think, is to be welcomed.
And I suppose those who are suspicious out there will also be asking, Leighton, just like you said, are we going to be paying for it some way, somehow in future? Has this anything to do with politics? Does it have to do with electioneering, that government is seen to be doing something, but at some point we will pay regardless?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of speculation as to exactly what the motives behind this move were. Government will obviously say that, look, they were looking to give consumers and motorists some relief. I think it may be a question of robbing Peter to pay Paul. At the end of the day, whatever the price of fuel is, the landed price of fuel has gone up. That bill still needs to be paid. And make no mistake, I think at some point as consumers, we will end up having to pay that bill.
All right, thanks very much for that. A once-off, government says, but let's see how they actually plan to pull this off. Leighton Beard there from the Automobile Association.